when things start to happen quickly, it's motivating in its own right. So you want to do those things more, and that will speed up the whole, success process.
Thanks, Ali, for sharing that. It never ceases to amaze me how thoughtful you are about how you design your content and how much thought goes into every response you give. It's just we're lucky to have you as a mentor. So thank you. Thank you for all the work you've done for us. I want to dive into your results and the systems that you've created. So I wanted to start here with Abdul. Can you talk about some of the systems that you've created in Systems Academy and talk about some of those details?
Sure. So I worked on a lot of systems. My first one was basically a system where I would just fade a climax bar. And I did a lot of research on that. It took me the most time to work on, probably the first few months, and lots of hours. And in the end, it didn't work. It was a failure. But doing that, and I wanted to highlight this because doing the whole research and going through mechanically recording all the trades based on the way Ali thought, just improved my understanding of how to measure a climax and what are different ways a climax occurs and how it changes in different contexts. And then I worked on a reversal follow-through system, which was my main system. And all the understandings and research which I did on climax, it was not a complete waste, because then I used it in my reversal follow-through system as in what things I need. And so that was the breakout system. Then I worked on main reversal system, which was basically flag fade systems. And so I'd worked more on the breakout side, where I had different pullback measurements and how to enter based on those. And one thing which immensely helped me in SA2 was to have a measurement technique for price action things. Like if you're today, for example, was a big gap day, how would you classify that big gap? Is it 60% big gap? Is it 100% of a average daily range? And the probabilities change based on that. So be able to think in terms of that. So that really improves your discretionary trading itself. Whether the breakout had a follow through, or that if that gap had a follow through, was it strong enough? It was not strong enough. What happens? So you can then imagine things in a better way because you know how to measure it. You have done your research. So just having going through all those research work while coming up with your system, even if you are not using them, it just makes you a better trader. That's what happened with me.
Awesome. Kelly, can you share some of the systems that you worked on and your progress through them?
Yeah, sure. Since I was fairly new to the trading world, I hadn't played with any of the data. I really didn't even understand that how much data and how much information was available to us. So when we started working, working through the Systems Academy course units, and we got to the back testing, and I started seeing what the other traders were doing in pulling the data and manipulating the data, I got really excited and started working on little projects like testing little things like what happens when the first bar is a bull bar versus a bear bar for the day. What happens when there's a tick gap? And I would just test those things just to start learning and playing with the data. And then I teamed up with another classmate, Travis, and we started working on a microgap project together. And Travis has coding skills that I don't have. So he was coding and building indicators, and I was doing a lot of the validation. And we worked together to, look at a micro channel system. So it's a 3-bar microchannel system, and we would look at the factors of strength, and we would grade the microchannel based on the strength. And we ended up kind of abandoning that. And I think we both just got excited about other projects, but I do think we'll end up syncing back up on other projects in the future, because it was just a really great experience. But I finally settled on what Ali had presented to us all with his breakout white paper. So I settled on the breakout and follow-through system. and added in big breakouts and started working through that. I tested that back through 100 trades, and then I also tested it through all the historical trading, which is a lot more than 100 trades. I think it's close to 2,000 trades maybe. But I did all of that testing and have gotten to the place where I'm doing the live testing now on that, and that's hit some bumps, but the learning has been incredible, and it's really exciting that I can see where the challenges are with the system that I have, and I know where I need to focus to fix them because it's so structured and so organized. So yeah, that's what I'm working on now.
Awesome. Yeah. And something you said is similar to what Kevin was saying, is that the beauty of what Ali teaches is that you can quickly find out if something has legs. And for most people, it's just this wondering if it works, if you're onto something. But with the criteria that's shared in Systems Academy, you can really quickly get a sense of, is this worth pursuing? And if it's not, you can find out pretty quickly with the metrics that are shared. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, like just the back testing itself, going through that with the projects, like Ali was saying, you kind of prove to yourself that something works, and it just really changes your perception of it and how you're trading it. So yeah.
Definitely. Thanks, Kelly. Logan, can you share some of the projects that you worked on and can talk through the process a little bit?
Sure. So when I first started building my first system, I was gone through the majority of the Systems Academy videos that I needed to in order to build and test the system. So I used Excel mostly to validate the data, and I was usually going after something that's a trend following system with some scalping. So I was looking and I was finding systems that were profitable, and the metrics were not as good as everyone else in the course, but I had an ability to test it really fast. So I think I could iterate quickly and kind of get myself out of some holes that I had found myself in. So testing takes a long time when it's done right. So over time, I stuck with the trend following scalping mostly. And it led me into wanting to test faster and faster. So I just kept asking more students in the group, which it was awesome that Travis was there. He gets another mention, honorable mention. He knew about the automated backtesting a little bit. So I would constantly kind of ask him and ask Ali to help me understand how that process works. So then, I ended up with, maybe 30 or 40 systems. I could create a system now anytime I want to. It's wonderful. Ali taught me how to do that, and I'll always be grateful. But I can take any market or any instrument, I can design a system, I can automated backtest it, and I can play it live, And if I want to apply discretion, I could, but unfortunately, I still have not built that skill. So really, the System Academy course does what it's supposed to do, which is it teaches you how to build a system that will work. He doesn't claim that he can fix every bit of things that you might have going on that cause you to not execute the system. That's a personal journey, but he's there to help you on that personal journey, which is pretty cool. So a lot of times what I'm talking to him about is, we're in our Systems Academy meetup and I'm saying, hey, I can't execute because of X, Y, or Z. And he'll be glad to kind of give hints what helped him get over that hurdle. And yeah, it's been pretty good.
So thanks, Logan.
Yeah.
Kevin, Ali has mentioned many times in our PTM group that he admires your ability to staunchly stick to your system no matter what happens. So can you talk a bit about your system and the research that you've done?
Unmuted. My apologies. No, it's bullheadedness. Part of the Irishman may be coming out. I don't know. Keep hitting my head against the wall until it finally breaks the wall or breaks your head, whatever. All kidding aside, the first system that I developed was one that was based upon price action and one that I had some limited success with, but lacked consistency, which was just a, buy the close, sell the close. And I came up with, and I was using an adaptive moving average, which is gamma. So I called it gamma XTC, which was kind of a cute name for it, but it was a system that I developed pretty quickly after I understood some of the logic in the system development side of things. So I figured, okay, here we go. We're off to the races. I got a great SQN number. This is a great system. Let's go for it. Went out and started trying it live and fell on my face. And it was looking at, okay, so what happened? And I basically came back to the group and said, well, I tried it and it didn't work. And what I found was that I made a lot of assumptions. And you know what happens when you assume? I had to go back and basically start over from square one and validate each various of the components of the system that I originally developed. I didn't take the time initially, which was evident when I was struggling in a live trading environment, in having confidence in that the system would do what I expected it to do because I hadn't tested it. And so all these suggested, yeah, you might want to check these different components. Went back and did that, cleaned up a couple of things and changed a few things. And now I have a system that I'm using that I am trading live. That's basically on a breakout system that has very good consistency. I still have occasional losing trades, but it's consistent. The risk is there. I'm comfortable trading it. And so now I'm developing another system that's based on a different strategy that will augment this one and allow me to kind of utilize both of them so that if one has a little bit of a down or a drawdown, I've got the other one working in concert with it to maintain a solid equity curve. And then the next step is to take a look at other asset classes and applying the systems to different assets, as opposed to, for me, it's predominantly crude oil because I'm up early and I like to be done by noon. And that's a perfect time. It's a good trending vehicle. So I use crude oil alone. I don't trade the ES, but at the same time, I would like to look back at the Forex market because it also trends extremely well. And so that's where my focus is, to finish this other system, then look at other assets to test them against.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Ryan, can you share a bit about the research that you've done and some projects that you've worked on?
Yeah, sure. So I think originally when I started out in the Systems Academy course, like really early on, I still wasn't sure what style of trading I was most comfortable with. So honestly, that might have been one of the biggest hurdles, because that definitely took a good chunk of my time, several months into the course. And I work a full-time job, so I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna need some sort of system that requires a little less time than a high frequency trading system. So I was looking into second entry reversals, and I learned a lot actually just through that process, understanding how swing traders think and how the market functions around swing trading. But it still didn't feel the most comfortable to me. And even at that time when I was researching, I wasn't sure if I was suited to trade high frequency scalping, but Ali was providing a lot of information through the breakout and follow through research. And that helped me with the swing trading. But as I more recently, maybe in the past 3 to 4 months or so, I started looking into more of the high frequency trading system. And again, the breakout and follow through, the research paper, and even the code, the paint bar code, it all just really, it's very cohesive. It makes it very, what do you call it? Digestible. On the outside, high frequency scalping looks like this, really foreign skill to people, and you're some sort of like wizard if you can do high frequency trading. But yeah, just through the research, and of course all attributes to Ali, because he just points out exactly what to look at. He's like, yeah, don't waste time looking through this. You have to focus on this if you want to get good at this, if you want to have the system down packed. And so now, even with work, I mean, it's kind of slow at the office, and I have a good relationship with my boss, so he lets me, hop on my phone, look at the market from time to time. And with high frequency, trading systems, there's often a trade that comes up whenever I look at the market. You know, it's just I have to kind of focus for a few minutes. And but otherwise, yeah, that's what I've really started to focus on. And again, like Kelly said, when you start a research study and you get into it and you know that that's what you want to pursue, you can kind of pinpoint where it is that you need to improve, and that makes the process much more streamlined and manageable. And it feels very possible compared to before Systems Academy, where it was just like, oh, I mess up a couple times, it's probably not for me, you know? It's like, no, you made mistakes. You know what those mistakes are. You can look back and you can add that to your research and you can improve constantly. And yeah, that's really enjoyable actually, because, you know, it just makes it that much more possible.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. And lastly, Brad, can you talk about a project you worked on and some of the research you did?
Sure. So, the first piece, thinking back to when this started, it was almost kind of it was a mixed feeling. I remember, I believe it was Logan and James, both of you were just really, really good at programming. And I remember just feeling kind of upside down in my stomach of, how do I even begin? I took all my focus from thinking in terms of discretion and tried to, how do I build a program? And it was honestly difficult. And then I remember kind of asking Ali and him hinting to the fact that, you don't have to give up your discretionary ability to look at a chart, use it to your advantage, kind of like a hybrid approach. And that really led me to thinking more through always in and breakouts and second legs. And one of the first systems was something Ali talked about in Orlando, but it was a always in flip, which when the market clearly changes directions in a strong way, there's usually going to be a second leg, and it's usually going to you can at least scale in. But some of the other systems I've kind of thought through, I guess many systems, is even thinking more about exits, as far as if it's a buy the closed market, considering getting out, a measured move down of the prior bar and just thinking how to re-enter. But the main systems has been really looking at breakout second legs. We've all heard Ali talk about it 100 times, but avoid the third leg. And that's really the biggest piece for me.
Awesome. And you have to tattoo that on your body, not to trade third legs. Don't forget that. So I kind of got a sense of the impact that Systems Academy has had on many of you. It came through in Ryan, Kevin, and Logan's responses. But I want to ask this to Brad, Abdul, and Kelly. And specifically to start, Brad, I want to ask you because I think many people in the trading community know you as someone with extensive knowledge. So I really want to get a sense of how much of an impact, and can you talk a bit about the quality of the impact that Systems Academy had on your trading and your trading moving forward?
It's been a huge impact. Like I said, probably the single biggest piece is to not overthink things. So to keep more of a rudimentary or just a very simple approach to, if it's a breakout and it's going to have a second leg, what does Ali say all the time? 90% chance you're at least going to get some kind of a second leg. And to get rid of some of all the other thoughts. So it's easy we've all struggled with it, getting analysis paralysis of just trying to think through every little piece instead of focusing on the concept of even just breakouts and second legs, and how if you really think through that one concept, there's a trade all the time. And the biggest benefit for me has really been being able to, if I could put it in a few words, narrow more of my thought process instead of, containing my thoughts in terms of looking at a chart more than them feeling like they're all over the place. It's easy you look at someone like Al, if you listen to him in the trading room and you hear him just say all these different things going on, and you think to yourself, how do I even focus on all of that at once? When we listen to Ali, it's very much look for a breakout. That's probably leg one, maybe leg two, and enter for a second leg.
Awesome. Thanks, Brad.
Sure.
Kelly, for you, it seems like you went through this period of frustration, but then you slowly started to see the light, and it started to come through in your results and in your chart breakdown at the end of the day. So can you talk about that, seeing the light, and how much of an impact the systems building has had on your trading?
Yeah, I think that kind of like Brad said, when I was just focusing on learning price action, and I was in the Brooks trading room, I was desperate for knowledge and desperate for understanding, and really just trying to do everything. So everything that Al would say, I would try to figure out how to do, and that was just overwhelming, and it was causing me to spin. I wasn't getting very far. So working through the Systems Academy practice or process, just slowly start to put the pieces together. And Ali also helps with his coaching, so you kind of get to a point where he had said to me, maybe you are needing to just focus on one thing, and that might help you, instead of trying to do all of these different things. So again, it was kind of narrowing it down. And so I had already been looking at his research paper and thinking a lot about breakout and follow through. So I just focused in on that. And so just kind of taking that, and again, going back through the testing. And along the way, he kind of gave tips. Like he said, all right, Kelly, stop doing so much testing. And I want you to just get a thing counter. And I want you to just count how many times on the chart over time this works, and how many times it doesn't work in so many categories. And just doing that kind of helped my mind relax and understand that leg ones and leg twos, that there's a practice there. So all of it together just kind of settled me down. And when I come into the day and look at the chart, and I look at the setups, I don't think about as much of what's going on. I think about, okay, there's my setup. Where are my filters that I need to examine to make sure I'm not taking a trade I'm not supposed to? And if the context is good, then I'm in. And then, you just go through the practice. So I wouldn't say that I've gotten to perfection yet, but I think that the impact has been profound. And I really think that in terms of helping me achieve my goals, I don't think that there will be anything that has a greater impact than this program has had on my trading.
Wonderful. Thanks, Kelly. And Abdul, I want to ask you, because when we spoke a few months ago, you told me that even though Systems Academy is just a year long, it taught you a lifelong skill of building systems. And anytime you have a new idea, you have the framework to test it and trade it. And so can you talk about the impact that it's had on you in terms of creating this lifelong skill for you?
Yeah. So the way I see SA2 is like it's basically a system development program. So you can focus on system development and use it to create systems wherein your focus is automation. So you are going that route. The other route is you use system development to become a better discretionary trader. And like after almost a year, I think if you want to become a discretionary price action trader, I think the fastest approach is to do system development. And I think SA2 is like probably the best course material out there. And for me, that's what happened. Initially, when I started, I thought I would be focusing on automation and systems. But when I went through one system after the other, I realized that my price chart trading skill was improving, and I moved away from automation and moved more into discretionary. And since I was also taking PTM, it was more like learning material from PTM and then using tools from SA2 to practice and convert it into execution skills. And because there's a path which is from 3 months to 1 year, like a breakout follow through, you understood the concept. For you to be able to successfully execute it, it takes a lot of hours. So to be able to do that, that was the impact. So to have that skill to take any idea and improve your discretionary trading. Like the way I see it, if you are coming from this route where you are a discretionary trader, but you're not successful, like you finished the books of Al, you watched through the videos and you just joined the webinar. So you're in this phase where you get frustrated in this webinar rooms as to what is he talking about? And then by the end of SA2, you see things more clearly. You fall in love with price action. So that is the impact where it leaves you.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to direct this question to Kevin, since you're the veteran of the group. What would you say to yourself 9 months ago, or to anyone who's in this path, in this journey of trading with a discretionary approach? What would you say to that person, the old you or a trader who's struggling, about the benefits of joining Systems Academy? You're still muted.
See, I've got a technology background. You think I could I could unmute myself, but anyway, it was a very interesting question that you asked, Basil, because it's really comes down to, if I were to talk to myself, say a year ago, as I was at that time, it was, you got to find a better way. You know that you have knowledge, you have skills, you've been in the trading environment. I've got a technical background. I can look at the chart and I can tell you after the fact, oh yeah, it should have done this or this or this. The hard part is when you look at the right side of the chart, as the bars are forming, you have to understand what's going on. Part of the challenge for me at the time was understanding that I could let the machine do a lot of the work instead of trying to do it all on my own, in my own head. And that's what I was looking for. That's what Systems Academy has given. You've heard a lot of folks tonight talk about the systems that they developed based upon their own skills. And so if I were talking to someone who would be considering this, I'd say, take a look at your own skills, take an inventory. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And then look at that as to the tools that SA2 can bring to you to help strengthen your strengths, help you with those weaknesses, but help you focus on a system that is comfortable for you. Because if it's not comfortable for you, if it's some kind of a black box or it's somebody's other system, generally those aren't going to work long term, because you're going to lose faith in it because you don't understand what its metrics are. You don't understand what its edge is. Systems Academy gives you that edge. And so I looked at a year ago what I thought I was going to get. I've got that, and then some. As Ali said, you teach a person to fish, you can fish for a lifetime. I'm working on fly fishing at the moment to try to get to be able to take my trading to the fly fishing level, which is a whole different skill. But all kidding aside, I think it's a tremendous system, but you have to come in it with what are you trying to accomplish based upon your skills and your own strengths, and then leverage that. Ali will show you all the tools based upon your personality, based upon your skill set, and he's got the patience of Job to help you be successful. It's a tremendous system.
Great. And just before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask a question about, for those of you who have come from backgrounds that weren't necessarily married or conducive to system design, how have you felt that Systems Academy was still built for you, that it still had a tremendous impact despite not having the professional or educational background that you may expect for someone who would thrive in Systems Academy? So any of you who did not have,
I'll say one thing to that. So I've got a background. I have a bachelor's degree just in finance. So for me, computer programming, any of that sort, is very much a foreign language. And even as simple as it sounds, one of the things that Systems Academy has just helped me realize more is, even just keeping, if you're looking at breakouts, you can make even a PowerPoint over breakouts and try to find what are the simple characteristics that you can label to help you get to the next step. So for me, the one thing I wish I would have realized sooner was you do not have to understand easy language or how to code to really find a lot of value out of this and to help your trading.
Great. And to finish this off, I wanted to give Ali the floor to share a bit about your journey as a mentor in this program? And can you talk a bit about what you've learned and all the things that you've noticed as a teacher for this course?
Thanks for that. I think that, well, tremendous privilege and honor to be able to work with this group of, fantastic people, all handpicked. I handpicked them for this program. So our space was very limited for this program because I didn't want to crowd it very much so that I have the time to see to each person individually. That meant it was a function of my time, and my time is limited, so I had to be very picky with who would actually enter the program. So tremendous honor. Can't really say enough thank you to everyone for being here and, accepting me as somebody to help them. But from a teacher's point of view, I think one of the things that really stands out is what you bring with yourself into a program like this is probably a good measure of what you would take out of it. And I've seen that people who come through the Systems Academy program with stronger engineering and math backgrounds, they get to the system development part faster. And then those who have, a better command of computers, they have a better IT skills, they can start testing things and automate things a lot more that saves their time. But Systems Academy is not about technology. I try to design the program in such a way that it is not based on technology, so that it is timeless. The principles that we use for trading and system development, they are not based on technology at all. So why should you put a course like this based on technology? In fact, there is almost nothing on technology, about technology of trading in Systems Academy. There's a lot of math in it because you have to understand the mathematics behind trading to be able to really think correctly about everything. But technology is just an add-on, and I try to keep it that way. So if somebody comes with a background in IT, that's going to serve them in saving their time and being able to test things more easily. But what I saw in action was people who came from, like Kevin is a very good example of that. Kevin has a very long experience as a technical person, and he has his life experience too. So one of the Kevin was one of the very first students of mine in this year who actually had presentations about his system. And that told me that, well, his years of experience has helped him to, get to the point that he can present his version 1 system probably before everyone else. Or for example, on the same note, Logan's background with trading was not all that much. So I took a risk on Logan to admit him because Systems Academy is an advanced course. So we want people who enter to have about 2 or 3 years or maybe more experience in trading. So when Logan told me that he doesn't have that background, but he's willing to work hard and all of that, I said, okay, let's give it a shot. But his background in technology actually speed up the process so much for him that now he is at the stage that he can think about systems and design them and program them and test them. That's a tall order. We haven't even past the 1 year mark yet. We are probably 9 months into this program. And to see somebody with, like on the lighter side of experience get to this point, it's totally amazing for me. So basically, Systems Academy is designed in such a way that the better the background of a student is as far as experience and computer skills, it wouldn't limit you. It would just let you to use them in your development work during this year. But on the other hand, if somebody starts and they are not very proficient with computers, but they want to become a discretionary rule-based trader, basically a trader who executes on systems but has the authority or the discretion to sometimes change those rules in a limited manner during the execution phase. There's still a lot of progress to be made because we have a lot of students who are in that group of traders who want to be organized and disciplined, but they don't want to be limited by the rigidity of systems. I think the third factor that's actually very important is the importance of hard work. And I can tell you with certainty that people who entered this program last year and didn't do the kind of work that we expected them to do, we haven't heard from them. Like, I regularly look at emails to schedule our calls for the weekly meetings, and some people are not in those calls. And those are the people who have not committed to actually doing the work, because doing the work is what this is all about. So the discipline to stick with the longer program, to be able to go through all the phases and do the work, which is mostly thinking, because this is not building anything with your hands, it's just building something with your mind. That goes a long way too. And that's another example that, hard work really pays off.
Awesome. Thank you. And Ali, thank you for all of your hard work, building these amazing resources for traders, building this exceptional community of people. Really grateful for everything you've done. Thank you for having me as a guest moderator. It was wonderful speaking with all of you. And that'll wrap up our Systems Academy Roundtable.
Thank you, Faisal. Thanks for being here. Thank you, everyone, for questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you.
The honor is ours. Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye, Kelly. Bye, Abdul.
Bye-bye.